Welcome everyone to our weekly Stockwaves webinar. The topic to kick off this week is going to be automobile manufacturers. That Tesla now has a larger market cap after this move up than Ford and General Motors combined. So let's first review the Tesla chart and see what our expectations there are. Once we kind of crossed above I think that was the 618 back, maybe it was the 764. Once we crossed above the 764 retracement, which was at 326 there, shifted to an impulse off of the 2019 low rather than the A, B, and C up. And under that assumption, we had that nice wave 3 of 3 top at around just slightly past 1236. Consolidation is the wave 4 of 3, and price since filling out a little bit of an extension in the wave 5 of 3 thanks to the short squeeze going on. So we've pretty much, hit all expected targets, and the higher probability portion of the upside here is that wave 5 of 3. I do think is definitely filled out. No clear indication of a top struck yet. You could make a case that this is a micro 1 and an ABC 2. We get one more push up to hit the upper end of this blue box here at 525 before we top, cause a little bit more pain for those trying to short this move, and then get that fourth wave pullback, which should take us, I think, back at this point to at least 408, potentially even deeper than that. Once we do get that fourth wave pullback, and assuming it develops as a nice clean A, B, and C, though, that can be a viable opportunity and set up to play for the fifth up towards 600 next. So again, do think we're approaching that local top as the wave 5 of 3. We may, if we can hold today's low, and you could even, if you're interested in scalping the setup, trade for one more push higher towards that fib at 525, and then expect from there the pullback as wave 4. If price breaks back below today's low, opens the door to that top already in place. But again, it looks like a possible micro 1-2 here. Setting up for one more extension, especially with this little flat structure into the close. This might be worth keeping an eye on tomorrow if you're interested in day trading that. So that fib lines
if it fails to hold the larger fourth, though, you can still count it as a B wave high, rather than this being a B wave inside the A of a larger cycle wave 2, though. If this fails to hold the fourth and does look more like only 3 waves up into a B wave high, it's probably at that point the B wave of the expanded flat for all of the cycle wave 2, and we'd probably be looking for that to hold between 177 and 110 as opposed to getting any lower than that.
Yeah, so we definitely want to see a nice clean 3-wave pullback here into the target support before just stepping in front of that. But I do think if we do see a nice clean 3-wave orderly 4th wave pullback, then that will set up a decent trade opportunity back to the long side.
Absolutely.
So let's go ahead and take a look at Ford and GM next then. We still continue to, let me zoom out here, see potential for a corrective flat going all the way back to the 2011 high here, potentially complete as this primary A, B, and C wave. Now, as you can see on my chart, I have that counted as a cycle wave B with the move up from the 2008 low as a cycle wave A. The reason for that is if you take a look at prior price history, going way back, which I don't have, the larger count looks like a diagonal. This is a big A, B, C wave up as your wave 3. This was a 4th, and this is an A, B, C up as a 5th. And if we get a full measured move for that 5th, it projects up to 139. So this would just be the initial wave 1 of that 5th, potentially filling out off of the 2019 low. However, off of that 2019 low, we did start with only a 3-wave move. So if it does have a bottom in place and we are developing that initial 5 up, larger 5 up as the wave 1 of that cycle C, then it seems to be limited to a leading diagonal structure. So in order for that leading diagonal structure to remain reasonably probable, price should be continuing going forward to hold above the low that we struck in October, at the beginning of October here into the 618 retracement. So we don't necessarily need to fill out an impulsive start off of that low, since we're expecting this wave 3 to break down into an A, B, and C structure. But price ideally still has more upside to go in the initial A wave, and maybe this is still even just wave A of A. So this could actually get pushed out a little bit further in timing, but
that's what I have.
We do otherwise, again, continue to like this as long as it is holding above that October low at 845 last year, and the potential that this is, again, starting the wave 3 of that larger leading diagonal. Moving on to General Motors, gave it the opportunity to hold as a wave 2 here, which it initially started to do. It held the 3-wave pullback off of the July low into the October low here. And it is still technically holding above that low, and therefore still valid as a possible start, kind of similar to Ford as the wave 3 of a diagonal, with the wave 2 completing at that October low, but nearly as strong looking of a setup and much closer to invalidating that with a break back below the low. If we do see that low taken out, there's really not any sort of clear tradable pattern here. I mean, you're basically getting 3-wave moves back and forth, and that just doesn't equate to anything that reliable. Zooming out here, the expectation though, if it does hold and we do continue higher, is this larger A, B, and C structure, ending diagonal C wave back, going back to the 2015 low here, and then the wave 4 completed in 2018, and this is the 5th since. Take a look at Toyota. We did exceed this high going back into 2018 here, so technically you can count this as a diagonal. You could even view it as that wave 5.
That's what I have.
Where this is the primary 4 and this is wave 5 here, which doesn't necessarily need to make that drastically higher of a high compared to the
similar to the market. You can get, it can hold the 134 region as a 4th, and then get a 5th wave up towards 147.
So you think this is still the 3rd of that diagonal, not the 5th?
No. I'm thinking as, that diagonal. It could still be that could still be the 3rd. It could, but even one more high inside that the 5th of the ending diagonal for primary wave 5 could just get one more little 4-5 there.
Gotcha. Yeah, and probably at least hit this 1764 here. Right. Zooming out though, I mean, it's somewhat interesting, I think, that you can get higher degree cycle 5 up very close to completion here. So not quite as longer term bullish on Toyota compared to something like Ford. Next up, Volkswagen. It did look like it was, many other charts have kind of filled out something similar. I mean, they had an opportunity to top in a B wave going back to, the Q1 of last year, and ended up holding a corrective pullback and are now either retesting or making new highs from there, and basically turning the B wave into a wider flat. So, I mean, technically we're still below that prior high. It could still be a 1-2 start to the C wave, but it does look much lower probability at this point. And again, I think that we can just view this B wave as just getting a slight extension. So kind of similar to the larger market, maybe a 4-5 in the C. It does look like it'll be much smaller in comparison to the size of the A wave. Overall, it continues, I think, to look corrective off of the low back in 2015 here. And longer term chart is not that inspiring either. It looks like a big ABC up. DAI. Looks actually a little bit better as a 5th down. And we do only have, so rather than WXY here, which I was counting at the original line, we got a lower low, which allows for a better A, B, and C down. There's not really anything clearly longer term bullish here. I mean, another chart that is an ABC up, yes, possible ABC back down from the 2015 low of nice equal proportion into a 50% retracement and bouncing off that low, but it bounced in 3 waves. So I would lean a little bit more bullish here, but it's not really the most exceptionally clear setup. If you really, for other reasons, fundamental or something, like this company, I would like to see a little bit lower in this pullback. Maybe this is an A, filling out B wave flat. Get a C down to the 50 or 618 if you were really interested in attempting an entry in that region, and kind of in the mid 40 region, 47 to 45, and then setting a stop either underneath the 764 or underneath the 2019 low. I think that BMW. We have longer term here. Probably more price history that I don't have. I'm kind of going to assume that this was a 4th and then 5th wave, probably at cycle degree, which means that this is more likely than not just an initial A wave down off the high of a larger correction. So another chart where we do have from the 2015 high an ABC down here that looks like it potentially completed, which gives us room for higher in a B wave bounce. And if that is the case, then ideally in a wave A of B up here, close to completing. Maybe if we're going to get 5 waves for that A, it needs one more high. But then setting up a B wave pullback, and then you could play for the C wave higher following that, but that's about as much as I would expect. Sees next from market cap. Bigger picture on HMC. I also have a diagonal count. Don't have the prior price history here, but it did look like a diagonal when I looked it up. So this can be a supercycle 1, 2, ABC up supercycle 3, and to me that suggests that we should still be within the supercycle 4. Technically, you can get 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here from maybe a running flat, but hard to view that as exceptionally reliable. I would definitely prefer that this comes back down to the 17 level before it becomes more attractive on the long side. FCA. Okay. Diagonal to the upside off of the 2009 low for Chrysler. So nice ABC up for primary 1 and 2. Nice ABC up for our primary wave 3, which looks complete. Got that leading diagonal non-overlapping LD. Actually, it looks like it could be just a standard impulse down for the A wave is 5 down. Price bounced into the middle of our expected target region for a B wave and could easily be ready to roll back over in wave C of 4. Alternative, and I'll put that on the chart in red, would be that this is just wave A of B. This is wave B of B. Oops, that's an A, not a B. And it tries for a wider flat up to the 618 in the C wave for a, again, wider flat B. So that's what I have as an alternative here for Chrysler, but again, I do think that we're not done with the primary wave 4 correction, heading back to 8 as the ideal target on the native ticker. Rice is a higher market cap than Ford is.
Their cars are a lot more expensive. It makes sense.
It's true. I still view this as 5 up, completing going back to the 2016 low. So this
How's that for fundamental analysis?
It still seems very, very close to a fairly significant top. We may get one more push up to that next fib at 181 before the top is struck, but not something I'm personally interested in attempting to get any further upside out of.
Very similar to AMD, that the most bullish that I could get is that this is still 5 up off of the December 2018 low trying to complete. So if that was a very small larger degree wave 2 instead of a fourth, this is still wave 1 of the third, and it should come back to the 140 to 130 region at a minimum as a wave 2.
Right. So again, near term, I wouldn't be too surprised, especially given the broader picture of the market with still room for further upside. If we get one more push higher here to 181 or so on race, and then maybe attempt to complete and top in the fifth there.